So for those of you who are serious about making money, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I'm going to be giving you the best game plans within the market to be making money. I'm going to walk you through the levels and the setups to be trading at these overall levels. Also, make sure you're subscribed to this channel because we recap all the trades that we are making, and I'm going to show you step by step how to open up your third eye so you can begin to trade like a genius. So you can begin to change your perception on how it is that you view the market, because I have a system that works, and I'm going to show you step by step on how to use that overall system towards the end of this video. Let's get straight into the analysis. So in terms of the SPY, the new game plan is going to be very short and simple. This is the game plan. If the SPY gaps up, if we are opening up higher than we previously closed, so we closed at 583.63, if we're opening up higher, the focus is going to be buying call options on the dips using the overall breakout and retest strategy. With that being said, the resistance levels that I'm going to be interested is going to be at 584 and 584.60. In terms of measuring the overall move, as you can see, when 584.60 reacts as a resistance, the SPY quickly drops 4 points. If we break above 584 and react as support with bullish 30-minute confirmations with the break and retest, then the SPY will be on pace to go to 586.30 resistance. If the SPY breaks above that, drops back down, and reacts to support, we'll be on pace for that full measured 4-point move at 588.30 for new all-time highs. That is going to be the game plan to buy call options at with the levels. Based off the daily chart pattern that I'm seeing, it might not even drop back down to the previous closing price. So if the SPY is having a small gap up, I'll be laser focused on buying call options at the higher levels, 584 to 584.60. The absolute highest would be 585. I don't encourage the higher levels, but if there is a strong confirmation and the contracts are very cheap later into the day at the higher levels, then that's going to be your best time to go with the higher levels in that situation. Make sure you write that down. Now, in terms of if the market is not gapping up, if we were reacting bearish at 583.63, I don't have too much of an opinion on the put side based off in terms of what it is that I'm seeing. If we are reacting bearish at 583.63 in terms of basic price action, if we crack under 583, let's go with that level, 583. If we're going under 583, we're going to drop to 582. If we go under 582, we're going to drop to 581. With that being said, if the SPY is reacting bearish heading into tomorrow, the main plan I have for you is going to be to buy call options at the lower zone. The lower zone is going to be the following. The higher level of the lower zone is going to be 580.80, right? So right here towards the lows of today. And then in terms of the level below that, it's going to be 579. Those are going to be the two levels where I'm interested in buying call options. The best game plan I'm seeing in terms of a night before in advance is going to be buying call options at the higher levels, only if the SPY is gapping up. If we're reacting bearish, you know the overall levels, meaning if SPY reacts bearish at 583.60 and it drops back down and it spikes back up to retest, that's a breakdown and retest, and you're seeing bearish 30-minute confirmations and you're trading the price action, it drops to 582.20. If 582.20 cracks, reacts bearish, SPY spikes back up, forms resistance, it drops back down to 580.70, under 580.70, 579 lower zone. It's like I said, just based off of what I'm seeing with the daily chart foundation and giving you the plan, the true best plans that I'm seeing in terms of not just using levels and basic price action, calls at 579 to 580.80, and then if we gap up, calls at 584 to 584.50, highest level 585 for the full measured move, break above 586.30 to 588. With that being said, that's the game plan heading into tomorrow. Make sure you're using strong, bullish, and strong trend reversal 30-minute candlestick confirmations. Make sure you're focused on that 10-day 30-minute chart. Make sure you're analyzing for those 30-minute patterns that I've been teaching you along the way for that history and confirmation to repeat itself, along with that breakout and retest strategy at the resistance levels, along with support trend reversal strategies, at the lower levels. With that being said, let's get straight into the trades. So in terms of the trades that we ended up making today, the first trade that I made on the day was buying puts. At 10:24 a.m., I ended up buying 584 SPY puts at 65 cents a contract. These puts that I bought at 10:24 a.m., as you can see right here, I'm going to walk you through this, man, right? Because everything it is that we're doing, we alert and we trade in real time, right? So in terms of when I got in on the trade, I ended up getting in on the trade right here towards the exact lows. I ended up exiting that trade at 88 cents. if you were to leave runners, which is very wise to do in this particular situation with the setup, it went all the way to 344 a contract, right? So with that being said, why did I decide to buy SPY puts? I'm going to walk you through this. As you can see, in the pre-market, the SPY ended up gapping down and selling off at the previous closing price. If you look in the pre-market, you're going to see we had strong resistance on the 30-minute chart with all these wicks right here and bearish 30-minute candlesticks, right, at the 584.60 level. The SPY did end up bouncing first and reacting bullish first, just as I had expected it to, at the best level to buy call options, which was at 582.50. I even told you in terms of that level, it's likely going to bounce first. So if you just want to get in without further confirmation, without waiting for that 30-minute candlestick to close, if you like, you can try to just get in at that best price. And you're probably wondering, well, why? Why was that level so special where you can just get in a sense if you don't want to use a further confirmation? Well, you're going to have to go back and watch the previous video that I made last night, because I'm not going to be repeating myself in terms of this foundation and how I came up with this 582.50 level. But surely enough, it bounced first. I gave you an auto buy level. The auto buy level bounced first. However, it was in the pre-market. Now, with that being said, there was also a green bullish 30-minute confirmation. There was also a 3 slanted red trend reversal candlestick. We talk about this in my videos. If you see a 3 trend reversal slanted red candlestick on the 30-minute chart, 90 minutes of price action at a key support level to buy, it's likely going to reverse. If you're seeing the green bullish 30-minute confirmation with wicks to test above, it's likely going to reverse. And then in terms of more confirmations, it's going to try to spike back to these previous support levels on the 30-minute chart that have not been tested. This was support, hasn't been tested, cracked. This was support, hasn't been tested, hasn't been cracked. Along with another confirmation, there was a gap that was waiting to fill above at 584.50. If SPY hits the key level and there's a green bullish 30-minute confirmation, it's going to continue to climb and explode to close the gap. When is it going to try to flip bearish? When is it going to try to reverse at the gap? When it's reacting as a resistance, when it's forming a red bearish 30-minute pin confirmation, which is why I ended up buying SPY put options. As soon as this 30-minute candlestick was getting ready to close, I looked at this chart and I said, man, the SPY is at overbought resistance. Look at all this resistance right here at 584. It quickly sold off to 582.50. It's turning this previous support right here into resistance. It's sitting at resistance for an hour straight, forming these bearish wicks. This is a very strong bearish pin. It's been sitting up here for an hour. I'm buying puts into the closing of this red bearish 30-minute confirmation. That's why I bought puts using the unique gap close reversal trading strategy that I've created. If you see the market the way it is that I see it, you should have been in on put options on the opening of this 30-minute candlestick right here at 10:30 a.m. You should have been in on put options right before this 30-minute candlestick closed right here into the 10:25 a.m. mark. For those of you who use, in terms of what it is that I teach, you should have been in on put options, because I'm telling you, with these systems that I'm creating, I'm simply trading in terms of what it is that I'm teaching you, and this works. I have a 90% plus win rate using this. Now, with that being said, in terms of that trade, that's why I bought put options, and I quickly sold into the move. If you wanted to try to maximize and capture the full move, you could just keep on holding the puts until the 30-minute chart closes green. Now, obviously, if you're holding puts and the 30-minute flips from red to green, you're going to get back gains, which is why you can set profit stops and move the profit stops in your way to ensure that you're collecting the bulk of your profits, right? While you're not at risk of giving back the bulk. With that being said, in terms of just measuring price action, you could have looked at the chart and you could have said, okay, I'm just going to hold these puts, and then I'm measuring the overall chart. It quickly dropped from 584 to 582, right? And there's a strong confirmation. So if history repeats itself, just hold it for 30 minutes, hold it for an hour, and just keep on fucking holding into these red bearish 30-minute confirmations. Once it flips green, you're going to get profit stopped out. I'm just giving you a system that you can use to hold your trades further. And you're always going to want to leave runners in a sense, right? So in terms of that overall trade, I did end up selling at 88 cents a contract, man. I didn't hold it that long. That overall trade went to 344, man. You should have left runners in a sense because it was such a great setup. But you guys are also well aware in terms of the night before, my main focus was on calls at the lower levels, but I did have the idea to buy puts, but it was mainly at that upper level. But this was such a great opportunity that I saw with the 30-minute chart and with the pre-market charts price action, right? Just simple price action on the 30-minute chart. Now, let's get into calls. After this trade, at a phenomenal win on puts, I ended up taking calls at my key level, and it did not work. But going green to red on a day is a personal choice. When you have a decent win on the day, going green to red is a choice. If you want to keep on trading, you can size down to manage your risk, right? In terms of trading options, everything you put in is what you're risking in a sense, especially when you're buying the cheap further out of money option contracts, because in a sense, we just let them expire worthless to zero, right? So I ended up buying 584 SPY calls. The trade did not work out. What do I believe was the mistake that I made on this trade? I would say not using a proper confirmation. I was extremely excited and very well prepared and equipped to buy call options at what I believe to be the best level at 582.50, which was the pre-market low. And it was also a phenomenal level to be buying at the power hour trading session, which is where we ended up making multiple 100% profit returns on SPY and then 1000% on SPX. We'll be getting into that. But the main reason why I believe it just didn't work out is because there was lack of confirmation. One of the influences on that lack of confirmation was the plan. I just wanted to jump the gun and get in on the plan. But I already had such a nice win on puts, and I didn't take such a big size on this overall trade in a sense because there was lack of confirmation. And I did also understood, in terms of just avoiding calls, this was another reason as well. You should have just avoided calls in a sense because there was lack of confirmation and calls already worked. Like I said, if there's lack of confirmation at a key level, then it's mainly only going to work. And the best time to just kind of try to take initial starters on that is when the key level hits for the first time. The key level hit for the first time in the pre-market. That's when it worked the best in that particular situation. When it hit during normal trading hours, it hit the second time. Everybody already knows that it worked in the pre-market. But a day before, we already knew that it was going to fucking work. The problem was it happened in the pre-market, right? So with that being said, I jumped the gun and there was lack of confirmation. It was just red bearish 30-minute confirmations, right? So it was just one of those situations where the trade did not work out. And I would say the main mistake being made was lack of 30-minute confirmation. Look at this. As soon as the 30-minute chart was green at the fucking level, it started spiking. As soon as there was a green, red, green pattern at the level, turning this previous resistance into support, it started spiking, right? You see the confirmations? I didn't use those confirmations. So it was an L trade. Now, with that being said, in terms of the next trades that I ended up making on the day, and then, like I said, in terms of just recognizing, bullish 30-minute confirmations, right? Because the trend continued to flip bearish. Once we went under 582.50, we had a nice drop here and it spiked back up and it formed resistance for 2 hours. But in terms of a flip where you could have tried to buy calls, green 30-minute confirmation is bullish. You could try to buy the dips. Green, red, green is a bullish pattern. You could try to buy into the rip. And then you sell into the rips. You set the profit stops. You get stopped out for overall profits, right? Those were all strong confirmations of the trend flipping from bearish to bullish on the day because this previous support is no longer reacting as a resistance. It's breaking out. It's reacting as a floor, which is going to go into the follow-up on the trades that I made during the power hour trading session, right? In terms of some similarities, let's get into this, man. This is where the true brilliance and genius shines. During the power hour trading session, this is the best time to be trading on the day. So in terms of the next trades that I ended up making on the day, I'm going to walk you through this, man. So in terms of calls, this is where I ended up getting back in on calls. I waited until the power hour trading session. This is going to be the best time to trade, man. Let me walk you through this. Ended up buying SPX 584 calls at 170 cents a contract as soon as power hour opened up. Power hour starts at 3 p.m. Make sure, especially if you're trading with an account above $2,500, right? Make sure you're using a broker that allows you to trade SPX. It's going to give you the biggest percentage gains within the overall market. With that being said, I ended up buying SPX 584.5 calls at 170 a contract. I was well aware that these were going to go up the most, but I'm also well aware that we have members within our community who might not be able to risk that on an overall trade, right? So I ended up buying SPY 583 calls at 83 cents as well. So I took both of these trades. Both of these trades that I entered were timed perfectly on the opening of the 30-minute candlestick. Both of these trades went up 300% in 13 minutes. We absolutely crushed it, man. And I made it very, very clear. I was very confident on the trade. Who's in SPX calls with me? The 30 minutes flipping green in terms of analysis. And then this is where you can see I had a lot of confidence right here. I posted this earlier into the day. I believe I posted this after the L on calls that I had. So yeah, after the L on calls I had, I made it very, very clear. Better plays will come. The longer you wait, the better. And you're about to learn why. So why is it better to wait longer? because confirmations and then the power hour trading session is the best time to trade on the day. This is when the contracts are nearly worthless and the market's going to be extremely volatile. You're buying worthless contracts where the market's about to have a massive move within the past hours. If you can catch a 30-minute candlestick or an hour's worth of confirmation in your favor, you can make thousands of % gains. So I'm going to walk you through this overall trade, right? So why was I bullish on the beginning of power hour? It was a 30-minute chart. This is support 582.50. This is where I want to buy calls. It worked first on the initial retest. It worked when there was a green bullish 30-minute confirmation. The SPY did nothing but fucking go up when there was green slanted bullish 30-minute confirmations. The SPY did nothing but drop once it filled the gap and sat at resistance for an hour straight with red bearish 30-minute confirmations. Do you see how simple it is to trade the market? Why come other people aren't talking like this? Why come they're not showing this? Because I created this. Do you understand? I created this whole system. This is exactly how it is that I trade, and I'm showing you how to trade like this. With that being said, you can see right here, there's red bearish 30-minute confirmations, no reason to be buying calls. Also, the level already worked out, which means it's best to stay away from calls if there's no 30-minute confirmations of a reversal. But I made that mistake in a sense, and I really just wanted to get in due to that level of being so amazing, right? So it reacts bearish. And then the SPY flips bullish. How's it flipping bullish? Green, red, green, bullish pattern starts to spike. Another thing you need to be aware of is 30-minute chart, previous support, previous support. The SPY cracked this previous support at 584. Had a massive drop, right? So if it's turning this resistance level right here, 582.50, which was previous support, you measure the move. Look at the move, man. This is a 2-point move. The SPY had a 2-point move, reacting as a resistance to the downside. The SPY had a 2-point move, reacting as support to the upside. So you measure the move, 2-point move can happen very, very fucking quickly. Now, let's get more advanced. In terms of the more advanced part, it's breaking out, it's beginning to flip bullish. It's going to try to retest that previous support, and then once that previous support is tested, it's going to try to react as a resistance and form new lower highs, right? So you can see it has the breakout, and then once it drops back down to test, that's where it can potentially bottom. Everybody knows key resistance right here, 582.50. The SPY has a nice breakout. Once it drops back down, it's going to retest, and it's going to attempt to react to support. The trend's trying to flip bullish. How can you confirm that? Anybody can sit here and say simple supply and demand. Okay, here's resistance. We're breaking above resistance. We drop back down to the previous resistance and we retest to react to support. Let's buy calls. No, it's not that simple. You have to learn how to read market structure. The overall trend was kind of bearish, but this previous support did not test yet. 584 floor did not test. It was a straight sell-off. Previous resistance right here is flipping, reacting as a bullish. The move shows it's on pace to go to 584. That's where it went last time. Measure the overall move, and it's going to try to spike to 584, and then it's going to try to form new lower highs and react bearish because the market had an overall bearish move on the day, right? That's how you read market structure. Now, in terms of the true confirmation that it's going to be a break and retest and react bullish to then go to the measured move of 584, this is very simple, folks. Look at the chart. The chart gave it all away. All the answers you seek are within the chart. If the answers are not within the chart, there is no reason to trade the chart. Do you understand? I'm trading the chart. If the answers are not in the chart, don't trade the chart. You're gonna have to trade something else. You don't have to, but you gotta find some other way to fucking trade. If you have the answers within the fucking chart, then just trade the fucking chart. It's so simple. So look at this. I'm gonna show you a lot of similarities throughout the past 10-day, 30 minutes. This is resistance. This is resistance. Green, red, green. And the SPY starts to trend up. This is resistance. This is resistance. Green, red, green, the SPY starts to trend up. If you wanted to, you could have bought call options right here after this candlestick closes green, right? Because you know the pattern's bullish. And then you sell into the rip, you set the profit stops, right? Now look at this. Your new resistance is right here. Your new resistance is at 584. The SPY has a break above the new resistance. And you're going to see a lot of similarities in terms of spikes, man. Look at this, man. Look at all these similarities of this. This is what I wanted to point out. This is the main thing that I wanted to point out here. You see all this resistance, right? This is the comparison, right? I know I just showed you something else, but this is the main thing that I wanted to bring in terms of like history repeating itself and confirmations. In terms of what I truly saw, this is what it was. You have all this resistance right here, and you see the red bearish candle, man. Look at this, man. Look at this. You see this red bearish candle right here. You see this red bearish candle stick right here. You see the similarities, right? And then it's forming all this resistance. Green, red, green, break above resistance. Now look at the 30-minute chart. You have this 30-minute red candlestick closing in the middle. You have this 30-minute red candlestick closing in the middle. What happens next 30 minutes? Next 30 minutes, SPY goes bullish. What happens next hour? Next hour, SPY goes bullish. You see this red candlestick in the middle, SPY goes bullish for an hour. Right here, similar candlestick, SPY goes bullish for 30 minutes. You see the similarities, but it was mainly this, man. Look at this fat red candlestick in the middle. You don't even need to know the name of it, right? It's forming a higher floor above the previous resistance level. After the SPY had that breakout to retest. You see how the new floor is above that previous resistance, right? So when the 30-minute candlestick closes like that, the SPY dropped back down to the previous 30-minute lows, and then it spiked for an hour straight. That pattern repeated to an exact T today, and we took advantage of that overall pattern. You're going to see this is the same exact red 30-minute candlestick that I showed you, and it was at a level of the break and retest, and it was at a foundational level where I wanted to buy call options planning the night before at 582.50. Did you see the market like this? You should have all been bullish at Power Hour. I gave you the level. I teach you the strategy. Look at the market. You got to learn how to read the market. Resistance for 2 hours, break above resistance, drops back down, red trend reversal candlestick. There's an hour left on the shot clock. If you look at the 10-day, 30-minute trend, that was a break and retest overall confirmation. And if you go further back, it keeps on repeating. That pattern has repeated itself so many times throughout the 30-minute chart. Look at this, man. You're going to see a lot of similarities. This is resistance right here. Look at this. This is the same exact pattern. Look at this pattern. And then you have all this resistance at 584. You have a break above 584. SPY drops back down to start to retest that resistance. Red on the 30-minute. Next 30 minutes was bullish. It drops under, flips bullish. Same similar candlestick, right? Next 30 minutes is bullish. You see that? So there's a lot of similarities, right? Sometimes it just went up for 30 minutes. Other times it just went up for an hour. In that particular situation, you get in, you set profit stops, you leave runners, you move the profit stops up, and then you get stopped out when it rejects you, right? The hardest part to trading is the exit. That is going to be the hardest part. But if you're trading trends, an exit can be fairly simple in a sense. If I'm playing for a full day to be within my favor and I know where to enter, you could just leave runners, let them ride, right? And set the profit stops, move the profit stops up. If I'm playing for the last 30-minute candlesticks to close within my favor, in a sense, I can just kind of hold to the last 30 minutes of that overall candlestick, right? That's when exiting becomes easier, when you know how to measure moves by prices and by times. And I measure the moves by the times of the 30-minute patterns, right? So that was the reasoning buying calls. You should have been all over that. You should have said, wow, there's a lot of resistance right here. I explained why 582.50 was the best level to buy. And then the breakout and retest, the SPY breaks above resistance. It drops back down to retest. Okay, here's the 30-minute red confirmation. Once the SPY drops back down towards this previous 30-minute low, we're going to be loading and buying up calls with the expectation that's going to start to spike. And then in terms of market structure flipping is this. This is how I would view the chart in a sense. The SPY is reacting overall bearish on the day. It filled the gap and it had a hard sell-off, right? The trend is having a short-term flip in bullish price. Right here, green, red, green, and then you buy calls towards the opening of this 30-minute candlestick, sell the rip. It's now breaking above this resistance at 582.50. Drops back down to test and react to support. In terms of market structure, previous support right here at 584, along with the measured move, when 582.50 reacts to support, it's going to try to spike to the measured move. It's going to try to spike to this previous support that has not been tested to then react bearish and form new lower highs. Understand? When 584 cracked, it flushed. It never went back up. So if the trend's bearish, once it goes back up, it's going to try to react as a resistance first, form new lower highs. Then the trend is going to attempt to see if it's a battle, whether the trend's going to maintain overall macro bearish or whether the short-term momentum is going to maintain that bullish flip, which in order for that to happen, the SPY would have to turn this 583 previous resistance right here into support with new bullish 30-minute confirmations, right? So one thing that I want to bring more awareness to heading into tomorrow is I would say if 583 cracks and reacts bearish, you're going to see a nicer move to the downside at 581 to 579. So in terms of a key potential level for puts, if we are not gapping up and 583 cracks and reacts bearish, the SPY is going to drop to the 581.80 to 579 range, set the profit stops, move the profit stops higher to ensure that you don't give back the bulk of your profits, quickly add to winners. With that being said, that's how I view the market, man. I hope you truly understand the genius behind the trade. I genuinely hope that you saw the market the way it is that I saw the market, because I'm telling you, man, based off of everything I'm teaching you within these videos, you should have had a very similar third eye where you were bullish for the power hour trading session. And it's just also understanding that calls were just so fucking cheap and the trend was flipping overall bullish in that sense, man. I already showed you multiple situations throughout the past 10-day, 30 minutes where the trend was just so bullish on the break and retest with that 30-minute red trend reversal candlestick in the overall fucking middle, man. So look, Who's teaching you this? Who's printing like us, man? Look at this. Look at these trades, man. Look at what we're doing. We're doing this every single day, man. It took me over a decade to figure this out. Do you understand? You go back throughout the evolution of this channel, you're going to see. I was not trading like this at first. I was making much smaller gains. I was getting out very fucking quickly. I changed up my whole trading. It happened overnight, but it took 10 years to get here. And then it took much longer to even start to master when that shift happens overnight. You know, you really have to understand and be aware of what it is that you have. And then you have to keep on becoming better in that sense for it to stick. But with that being said, man, 3:03 p.m., you guys are well aware I'm the power hour king. I'm the best at trading power hour trading session. You're not going to see anybody out there in the fucking market making trades like this, man. The only guy I know making trades like this, G-Roar, man. He's absolutely crushing. I'm going to walk you through the trades that he made on the day. Look at this, 3:03 p.m. I'm in at 583 calls, 584.5, calls at 175. I understand, man. I understand in terms of options, man. People need options. Not everyone can afford to risk 170 on a contract to make $700 in fucking 10 minutes, right? So risk 13 cents a contract to make 40 cents on a contract. Risk $13 to make $40 within 13 minutes, right? We got options over here. Power the money options give you the most options within the market. It took me over 10 years to figure this out. Now, with that being said, let me walk you through this. So 3:01 and 3:03 p.m., I'm going to walk you through this, right? This is where we got in on call options. Who do you know is teaching you this information? Who do you know is alerting their trades like this in real time? Because that's what we do. We trade over here. Do you understand? We actually trade. So with that being said, in terms of this trade, you're going to see, this is where I got it. I got in at the exact lows at 3:03 p.m. on these SPY calls. And then as soon as I got in, they went from 12 cents to 47 cents a contract. And then during the after hours trading session, right? If you're using the proper broker and you're trading SPY, not SPX, you can hold up until 15 minutes and you could sell during the after hours trading session. They ended up spiking to 110 a contract, right? That's 1,000% plus play. And it ended up happening twice. You could have made that same trade twice using the overall 30-minute chart. The 30-minute candlestick was green. With that being said, in terms of that overall trade, we absolutely crushed it. And then the 584.5 calls at 170. These I bought towards the exact lows like 2 minutes before that. So if we go to the 584.5 calls right here, you're going to see this is where I got in. The exact lows, this is where I got in at the 170 mark. And they quickly spiked to 700 a contract, man. I'm telling you, in most situations, SPX is going to go up more if you're trading SPX past 3:30 p.m. The calls were so fucking cheap. I couldn't believe on how cheap these SPX calls were today, considering how early I got in. We mainly trade SPX after 3 p.m. when it's extremely cheaper and low risk, but the calls were just so cheap on SPX. I got in. I didn't mind paying 170. I didn't mind risking 170 to make 700 on the overall fucking trade, right? So with that being said, there was another phenomenal opportunity to buy SPX calls where they went from 150 all the way to 960, closing at the highs, man. Who do you know is putting you into these trades? Do you understand? This took me over 10 years to figure out. Go back, look at the past videos. You're going to see over 4 years of content, over 580 videos. You're going to see I was not talking like this. I was not trading like this. This takes time. I documented my entire journey. You're going to see the evolution of this trading, man. This took me for fucking ever to figure out. You wouldn't believe how much time, how much money, how much fucking pain and suffering this took to figure out. But anyways, we got this down to a T because we have systems. We know the time systems. We know the measuring move systems. We know where the algos are. We know the best strategies to be using at these overall levels. Some people, they're just too basic with like breakout and retest. They don't know like in terms of market conditions. They don't know in terms of confirmations. There's so much in terms of a deck, man. We have a deck of a lot of fucking cards and we trade with our heart. So when you have the heart of cards within your favor, with the deck as well, with the education, you become unstoppable. And that's what it is that we have over here. We trade with intuition as well, right? So I made it very, very clearly who's in SPX calls, right? And in terms of exiting, you could see right here, I made it very, very clear calls will bank, right? And then I made it very, very clear in terms of exiting. I got out at 420 a contract, man. I got out at 420 a contract. And then on the SPY calls, I ended up getting out at 29 cents a contract, man. So those were the trades that I ended up making on the day, making multiple 100% profit returns. Now, with that being said, let me show you the trades that G-Roar ended up making on the day. G-Roar ended up having a very successful day. He's coming back with a vengeance as he stated he would. Take a look at these trades, man. So in the morning, he ended up buying 585 SPY calls for 51 cents. He bought these calls at 51 cents and they quickly went to 71 cents a contract, man. You could see he said it very, very clearly at 10:17 a.m. Set the profit stops at 65 cents, right? So in terms of those overall calls, he ended up buying those calls. I'm going to walk you through this, Ben, right? So in terms of that overall trade, he also gives you the full, play breakdown when he exited the trades, right? Walking you through in terms of recapping it and showing you what was on his overall charts, right? So if we pull up the 585 SPY calls, you're going to see, man, this is where he got in. So in terms of the overall trade, this is where he got in. And then in terms of this is where he said to set the profit stops. It had a small spike above that. And then you get profit stopped out right here on the drop if you didn't sell into the higher spike, right? So that was a nice little scalp to start the overall morning. And then as soon as he exited calls, I alerted puts, man. As soon as he got out of those calls, I alerted puts using the gap reversal trading strategy that I've created with the 30-minute confirmations, right? Now, with that being said, the winning is just nonstop over here. Inside of Team Roar, it's just unlimited fucking winning. All we know how to do is win over here, right? So you're going to see, I'm going to walk you through this next overall trade, man. Let's get into this. So in terms of the next trade, you're going to see it was on calls. This trade, we both took this one in a sense, and it did not work out. It's very rare where we're both on the same sides and the trade did not work out. I chose to wait because I was waiting for a 30-minute confirmation. But with that being said, we both took that trade in a sense. I bought it at a much lower price because I was waiting for a 30-minute candlestick to close. He ended up getting in towards the opening of the 30-minute candlestick. I read the chart, and what it was telling me was it was telling me to wait. So I paid lower, but both of those trades on the calls did not work out in a sense. But you're going to see right here, take a look at this. 582 SPY calls at 58 cents a contract at 11:41 a.m. These calls, this was a phenomenal trade. They went to 145 cents, man. Look at this. Move your stops to 135 cents a contract. When you're setting profit stops and giving you the exact level where to set the profit stops, you don't even need to let them know where you're exiting the trade because you set a profit stop. They're going to get stopped out automatically. And then in terms of, self-sufficiency, you can sell the moves yourself into the fucking rips, man. So in that situation, that was a phenomenal trade, man. It went to 135, right? So if we go to those overall calls, right? So in terms of that overall trade, right? You're going to see right here, break this down, 11:41 a.m., 582 calls. If we go to 582 calls on this particular trade, I'm going to walk you through this, man. So I'm going to pull up 582 calls on SPY, and I'm going to break this down for you here. So as you can see on 582 calls, if we go to the mark right here at 11:41 a.m., this is in the 60-cent range. They quickly went to 110 a contract, and then they quickly went to 150 a contract, right? And then in terms of where to set profit stops, setting the profit stops was literally at the exact highs of the move. You see how there's previous resistance on the contract and it flushed. So we said to set profit stops right here. And then you get stopped out for overall profits into the 130s if you did not sell into the higher rips, right? We have a very systematic approach to trading that nobody else is using. You're rarely going to hear other people talk about profit stops, but they'll tell you to use a stop loss and you'll get stopped out for loses and you'll keep on fucking losing. You'll never be able to hold for fucking wins. You're never going to be able to win big or last within this overall market if you don't hold your trades. Let the percentage gains do the work for you. Don't go sizing in massive, trying to win big, using a tight stop loss and selling for a small win. You're never going to be able to hold for a big win if you do that, right? That's a lot of mistake that many traders make. Now, with that being said, in terms of this trade, who do you know is doing this? Do you understand during the power hour trading session, man? Look at this. You understand? This is just power hour alone. It goes at a play that goes up 200%. And then the next fucking trade, this goes up 1,000%. And he's literally exiting at 390. Look at this, man. 5,850 SPX calls, 55 cents a contract at 3:54 p.m., man. Who do you know is doing this? Who the fuck do you know is doing this, man? This is fucking crazy. I'm going to pull up the SPX contracts right here. I'm going to walk you through this, man. So let's get into this trade. We're going to go to SPX, and I'm going to pull up the 555 strike for you. So we're going to go to 855. I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to walk this to you step by step. I'm going to break this down here for you, right? Let's pull up SPX, and then we're going to pull up the strike. Give me 1 second. So it's 850. So let's put in 50 into the option contracts, right? 50, and I'm going to walk you through this overall play. So in terms of this overall trade, keep in mind, he had a 200% win before this on calls, and then during power hour trading session, I called out 2 100% wins on SPY and SPX, and those went up 300% if you just held for a couple minutes, right? And then during the power hour trading session, it keeps on fucking continuing, dude. Who do you know is doing this? Do you know any fucking group out there on the fucking planet that is doing this? Do you see how many wins we had during the power hour trading session? That recoups up and makes up for any L we had before. Look at this, man. The percentage gains always outweigh any losses. The win rate doesn't matter, but we have the highest win rate in the game doing this. 5,850 SPX calls at 3:54 p.m. Look at this. You have all the fucking time in the world to get in. 3:54 p.m. It's sitting at 40 cents a contract. It's dropping to 30 cents. It's dropping to fucking 25 cents. We don't use stop losses. Do you understand? Let them expire to worthless. The trades are so cheap, so low risk. You can put in your entire position size as your max risk per trade, let it expire worthless, and make unlimited percentage gains. Who the fuck do you know is doing this? 25 cents to 500 a contract. Within a single fucking minute, it went from 15 cents to 500 a contract, man. Look at this. In real fucking time, sell at 3:59 p.m. when we were in mid 3 fucking hundreds, man. Look at that fucking play, breaking down the full fucking play. So who the fuck do you know calls out a 200% win on spy calls, then I come in during power hour, call out 300% fucking plays, and then he comes in last fucking 6 minutes and runs up 1,000 fucking percent, man. Who do you know is doing this, man? Drop a single fucking name, a single fucking group that is trading the way we are, that is printing like fucking us, man, that is teaching us information for $10 fucking thousand wired straight to your fucking bank account. Who do you know is doing this? It does not exist. This took over 10 fucking years, over tens of fucking thousands of hours to figure out. Do you understand how much fucking pain, how much fucking suffering, how much fucking losing, how much it took to get to this fucking level, man? People don't understand how many fucking accounts you have to blow through to get to this fucking level. How much fucking time, how much fucking pain, how much fucking suffering you have to put into the beast of the fucking market to get to this fucking level, man. So you tell me, who the fuck do you know is doing this, man? Now look, if you're serious about making money, right, and trading alongside with us, it's the first link down below in the description. If you want to make fucking money with us, you want to come print with us, you want to see how we trade in real time, I'm teaching you the systems. I'm doing everything I can within my favor in terms of making these videos to teach you the overall systems. If I'm teaching you the systems and then you see my real-time trade alerts, you should have an understanding on terms of why I'm in the trade. You know, some of the trades are going to be purely intuition. You might not know, but the vast majority of the trades that I personally make are educational. So you should have a much better understanding on the way that I'm trading and being able to trade with me in real time, along with the plans. We give out the plans in the pre-market. We give out the plans during the normal hour trading sessions, right? Everything is given out in terms of exactly what it is that we're fucking doing, man. Who do you know is doing this, man? We had members running up SPX for a 300% return in 10 fucking minutes. Do you understand we're outperforming every single fucking trader you know within the span of minutes? Because we trade SPY and SPX farther money option contracts, and we know the exact times to trade them, and we know the exact systems to use, and we trade with our hearts, and we master this, man. Look at the fucking results, man. This is crazy, man. We had a member run up 300% in less than 10 minutes on those fucking calls, man. We had a 200% return on the 583 calls right here. We had a member run up 300%, man. I'm 235%. It's fucking crazy, man. 170 to 700 on that SPX play. A 300% return. Do you understand? People come in here, they put in $1,000, they flip it to fucking 5K in a month. Dude, this is the best fucking system. So just to give you some background, we are buying very cheap, far out of the money option contracts, right? We're going multiple legs out at times. These are very low risk. They're very low risk because they're going to give you the biggest percentage gains within the market, the highest risk to reward ratio. You have to be a fucking genius to figure this out. You have to time the trades so fucking well. In certain trades, you don't even need to time fucking well, especially if you have a decent entry, because we have the entire day for the contracts to go in the money. So we never use stop losses. We never set stop losses. The rule in Team Roar is if you can't afford to fucking risk, you know, in terms of this SPX play, right? So what's the fucking rule? I'll show you the rule. This is what we do differently. This is what we tell our members. SPX contracts, it's 55 cents, right? Multiply by 100, $55. If you can't afford to risk $55, right? Trade with real money, risk $55 to make $400, don't fucking trade. How better can we do? We're trying to be the absolute fucking best we could possibly be. How better can we fucking go? 55 to fucking 400 in 6 fucking minutes, man. We're outperforming everyone you know in 6 fucking minutes. We're buying something that is very cheap, very low risk. Since it's a cheap entry, it's very low risk. It can go up the biggest percentage gains in a very short period of time, right? That's going to make it very high reward. With that being said, this is the only strategy that you can use with real money where you can put in your entire position size as your max risk. Whatever you put into the contracts is what you are risking, right? It's very cheap, very low barrier to entry, and it has the highest rewards, right? So you understand. With that being said, you can put in your entire position size into something and lose it all. And that entire position size could be your max risk per trade. It could be like 2%, 3% of your account, right? Obviously, the less you start with, the higher it's going to be. But like I said, man, this is the lowest barrier to entry. You will not find anything like this if you're trading with real money that's going to yield these kind of returns within the overall market, man. This is what we've optimized for, the best fucking system to optimize for. It works for small accounts, and it also works for rich people because rich people prefer to pay less. They know how to trade, and they hold their trades for longer periods of times. They're paying less, they're risking less, and they're making the biggest percentage gains. Holding a little bit longer gives you that opportunity to put in less, to risk less, and to make bigger percentage gains. We trade in percentages. Your max risk per trade is whatever you're putting in into the trade, right? You can't do that with other trades because shares, you're going to need to put in a lot of equity to make a decent return. And you're also going to need to hold for a very long time to make a decent return if you're trading with a smaller account, right? It's nearly impossible if you have a small account with shares. It's extremely difficult, right? If you're going with in the money options, those are going to be priced a lot higher. Since you are paying more, they are riskier. And if you're buying in the money options, they're going to be more risky in that sense as well, that they're not going to go up the most percentage wise. There are rare exceptions in terms of the market where it does make sense to go closer in the money depending on market conditions and stuff like that. But like I said, we already have a system that works. We don't even need to adapt in that sense. We could just cut back if it's an overall month where far the money option contracts aren't working. Like if you can't afford to have a red month within the market, then you don't have proper risk management or you just have no capital to trade with, right? Because there's 12 months in a year. And if you're going literally green every single fucking month and then you have one red month, that should not stop you out. So with that being said, man, you just need to understand with this system, this is the only type of trading style where you can put in your entire position size and actually make massive dollar gains, letting the percentage gains do the work for you with very low risk because your entire position size is the max risk per trade, right? That's the beauty of this. And since the entire risk is your max risk per trade, you don't need a stop loss. You can remove the stop loss. You're no longer getting stopped out for losers. When we're buying at 50 and it drops to 25, we're saying, dude, I'm down 50%. We're laughing our fucking ass off. Why are we laughing our fucking ass off? Because we're playing for the close to go in our favor. Do you understand? All we need is one quick 1 minute move in our favor. Do you know how many times this occurs within the market where the moves happen at the very last minute? Look at this move. Within a singular fucking minute, SPX went from 5,850, those contracts at the money, to fucking 5 points closing in the money. Do you understand the fucking potential here that we're talking about, man? So that's what we're doing, man. Very cheap, very low risk, max risk per trade into the fucking contracts. Let them expire worthless. Let them fucking go to zero. Now, some situations, we will sell the move if it makes sense. If we're down 30, 40, 50% and it makes sense to just get out, we'll get out. But in many situations, we hold because the contracts have the entire day to go in the money. 580.50 strike is at the money with 1 minute on the clock. SPX spiked 5 points. That means if you do the fucking math, if you're buying at 50 cents and it spikes 5 points in the money with 1 cent with 1 minute on the shot clock, those contracts should be worth 500 a fucking contract. Sometimes it's going to be less in a sense, right? But you're doing the game. That's the game, man. We're buying far out. We're selling deep in the money, right? With that being said, set profit stops. We quickly set profit stops. The reason why we set profit stops is to ensure that we do not go green to red on a trade. If we are winning on a trade, why would we want to go green to red? We can just get stopped out for profit and then get back in if we wanted to and use some of those gains, right? So we set profit stops to ensure that we don't go green to red on an overall trade. We don't use stop losses because there's no reason to, because, you know, the max risk per trade, we can afford for the contracts to go to zero and expire worthless. And there's also no reason to, because the contracts have the entire day to go in the money, right? If it goes in money, we're going to start making some serious gains in that sense, right? So those are the reasons why we don't believe in the stop losses. Now we could sell the moves. Now we set the profit stops quickly to ensure we don't go green to red. And then we add to winners. When we are up a little bit, so in terms of us, like what's a small gain for us? A small gain for us is like, you know, 15%, 20%, 30%. Very small gains. You know, in 2024, the bar, the standards are up fucking here. So if you're in another group, make sure that they're doing this and making the biggest percentage fucking gains. Make sure they're holding for the biggest, you know, fucking ROIs. Make sure they're holding their trades. Make sure they're putting you something that's very low risk with the highest fucking rewards. Because I'm telling you, the bar is up fucking here. And many people want to get to that fucking level, but they don't have the systems. They didn't put in the 10 years of fucking work, right? So just make sure you understand in terms of who it is that you're following and what it is that you're doing, right? Now, with that being said, we add to profit stops. We add to profit stops to ensure that we add to winners, we add to winners to increase the fucking winning, right? So we add to winners to increase the fucking winning, and then we move the profit stop up to ensure that we don't get back the bulk of the profits. That's some of the basics to the real-time options trade alert system that we've created. Now, in terms of this overall system, I've mainly created the charts and the technical aspect of this overall system, right? So like in terms of the system, I've created like the charts and the technical aspects. G-Roar, in terms of what he's added to the system, man, he's added that aspect of setting the profit stops and removing the overall stop losses, holding the trades for longer periods of times using the harder cards, right? You gotta give credit where credit is due. And setting the profit stops and adding to fucking winners, man. So we kind of combined everything to fucking together, and it's fucking amazing in terms of what we've created, man. So I do have to give a big shout out to G-Word because he's the one who put me on to not using stop losses. He's the one who put me on to going a little bit further out of money. And he also put me on to just holding trades a little bit longer and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, in terms of that main thing that I've created, it's the methodologies and it's the charts, man. I'm telling you, I'm truly trading the chart. He's more focused on trading the art of cards. That's what he does best. I'm more focused on trading the overall chart. That's where I shine best and do best. And that's what works best for me, man. But I'm telling you, if you have that intuition, I know traders out there, they have reasons to make trades that have nothing to do with the charts and it works for them. Like I said, man, you can create anything you want to create within this fucking market. I have a system that works very well just trading the chart. There's traders I know of, they literally just trade with their heart. It's pure intuition. They can't even explain why they're in the trade. They just said, I trust my heart. I trust my intuition. I see that there's a play here, and they go with it. And one thing that can potentially kill that intuition is if you trade on a live stream. That's another thing. If you trade on a live stream, it might kill that overall intuition. If you start talking out loud, paying attention to comments, and trading on a live stream, you might start trying to teach people as well, right? If you're just trading harder cards and intuition, then it could be a little different in that sense. So it's all just things to think of. I'm trying to open you up to something new, something that works with systems, right? But like I said, man, my main overall approach has been the charts and then combining in terms of like what he has been doing with these charts. So like I said, man, you can have charts, you can trade charts, right? So if you trade charts, well, you got to figure out what are you going to trade? If we're going to sit here and trade the chart and we're going to hold for longer periods of time, what are we going to trade? Are we going to trade stocks? Are we going to trade shares? Are we going to trade options? Are we going to go in the money? Are we going to go further out of the money? Are we not even going to trade with money? Are we going to trade prop firms, right? If you're trading the chart, that means you're trading price action. You can trade any asset class you want in a sense, right? So what asset class are you going to trade? We have traders in here. They trade with prop firms. They do very fucking well. That's the asset class that they chose. They went with the overall prop firm route, right? You can do what you want if you're just trading the overall charts or if you're following alert in an overall sense, right? So I'm trying to open your mind up to something different. Like I said, what I've mainly been focused on. So I started out with ETFs on you guys in TVIX. I used to trade ETFs. Then I went to penny stocks. Then I went to in the money options. Then I went to out of money options. Right? That's where I'm at now. In terms of the future in the career, I could do anything, man. Because like I said, when you trade the chart, when you trade price action, right? You can trade anything you want. You can go into futures, you can go into prop firms, you can do whatever the fuck you want when you have something that works with the chart, right? Right now, we're buying further out of money option contracts. This is what we believe can be the best system if you're trading with real money for small accounts and for large accounts, right? So, G-Roar has that aspect where he has, taught us the profit stops, adding to fucking winners, setting the profit stops, not using the stop losses, holding the trades for a long period of time. What really helps with that can be intuition in the heart of cards. Also, in terms of the chart, measuring the move, measuring the 30-minute chart, measuring the price action, all helps with holding, knowing the times, right? So I just want to be open and transparent in terms of like what we have here. And like I said, we buy far out of the money option contracts, we sell them deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains, and we have the highest win rate in the game doing this. You really have to sit down and ask yourself, who the fuck do you know that you're watching, that you're following is doing this, man? Who do you know has these trades on SPX, on SPY? I told you, it took me over 10 years to get to this level and figure it the fuck out. So with that being said, if you want to join the group and trade alongside with us, it's the first link down below. Within the description, we're absolutely crushing it. We are putting people in the highest risk to reward ratio setups possible. The trades that have the cheapest, lowest barrier to entry with the biggest percentage gains. If you want to understand what trading is about, I'll give you two things. Trading is about being able to be successful with a low win rate. That means you have a strong foundation. If you can be successful with having a low win rate, you have a strong foundation to build off of, or if you can continue to master that skill set, your win rate should increase over time. Trading is also about putting yourself in trades that are extremely high risk to reward ratio. Now, the beauty of our trades that are extremely high risk to reward ratio is these are the cheapest contracts that are very low risk. And since we're trading options, it gives us an edge. The edge with options is we have the entire day to hold and for the contracts to go in the money. It also gives us that edge in risk management with going further out, where we can actually put in our entire position size and let it go to zero, losing our max risk per trade at the very fucking most. Do you understand the edge that we have? People don't have this edge because they didn't optimize for the right systems. There's people that trade the charts, but did they figure out how to trade far the money option contracts? Did they figure out how to enter something where they can put in their entire position size, their entire equity as their max risk per trade and still yield high risk rewards and big percentage gains, which are going to yield to decent dollar gains? Have they figured this out where it's very low barrier to entry, where you can grow small accounts at the speed of fucking light, and then rich people do this because they prefer to risk less and pay less? Look, man, I'm telling you, why would I go in the money? It doesn't make sense. If I go in the money with my skill set, it makes no fucking sense. Why would I pay more and risk more of my money to put in to something that's going to make me less percentage gains? Why would I do that? It makes no fucking sense. It's more expensive. It's already in the fucking money. It's not going to go up bigger percentage wise, right? Why would I fucking do that? It makes a 0 ounce of fucking sense to do that when I can put in the same amount as equity or even less and make bigger dollar gains than all those fuckers, man. Even if they're holding as long as me, it makes no fucking sense to do that, man. I'll just hold fucking longer, make bigger percentage gains, let all the fucking work do it for me. Let the fucking time do the work for me, man. And like I said, we know the times during power hour and during market open where we're going to outperform every single fucking person you know, every single trader you know of. We're going to outperform them. Do you understand this one trade alone is outperforming entire groups in 6 minutes? Do you understand? 58 cents to 400, right? Nearly 10 fucking X in 6 minutes. In 6 fucking minutes. In 1 minute, the contracts went from 25 cents to 500 a contract. Do you understand? We are outperforming groups percentage-wise with the best system fucking possible in the span of fucking minutes. We don't even need to hold the trades for fucking long periods of time. We're trading during the power hour trading session, right? During market open, in middle of the day, we're going to typically hold longer. During power hour trading session, there's trades if I take earlier, I'll hold for 20 fucking 30 minutes. But obviously, if you're trading last fucking 5 minutes, you're only going to hold for a couple minutes, right? With that being said, for those of you who are serious about surrounding yourself with a secure private organization that's real, that knows how to trade, that has the best system within the fucking market, it's the first link down below in the description. If you want to start making money with us, if you want to start trading alongside with us, I'm literally showing you in terms of how it is that I'm trading with the trades that I'm making. Therefore, if you're in the group and you want to learn how to do this and you look at the timestamps and you're trading alongside with me, because everybody knows the way to learn how to trade is to actually fucking trade, right? You have to actually trade to learn how to fucking trade. But I'm literally showing you and recapping the trades, right? And then if you start looking at the timestamps and looking at the time frames I'm using, you have my chart set up like me, you should start seeing and understanding in terms of the reasoning behind the trades I'm making in real time, along with the plans we give you in advance. It's the first link down below in the description. If you're serious about learning this skill set, like I said, you can use my alerts to learn how I'm trading. You can use my alerts to confluence your overall thesis. If you want to use my alerts as a confirmation where you're confident and you see what I'm seeing and you agree with that, then get in on the trade because you're well aware we know how to time our trades, right? Or you can just kind of follow the trades in a sense and learn along the way. There's plenty of beneficial ways to use trade alerts. I just gave you 3 reasons on the importance of using these trade alerts, right? But at least I'm giving you opportunity where you don't have to be a sheep and blindly follow because I'm actually teaching you in terms of what it is that I'm doing. That's what separates me from a lot of people, because a lot of people just give trade alerts, but they don't fucking teach people how it is that the way they're fucking trading, right? And some people, it's purely just intuition. There's not much to teach. Other people, they don't want to reveal their fucking secrets, which is understandable, right? Because I already told you, man, I have groups and I have people who paid to learn from me and they're starting their own fucking business now. Do you understand? That's the level that I'm fucking at. People pay to learn from fucking me. They're going out and they're going to start their own fucking groups. They want to try to get involved. I'm like, dude, blueprints like us, who's to learn these trades in real fucking time, who's at the fucking top. Like they just don't understand, man. They're not like us. So anyways, man, if you want to learn from the best, if you want to learn from someone who's doing this for over a fucking decade, he's put tens of thousands of hours in. If you want to trade alongside with us, it's the first link down below in the description. You really have to ask yourself, who the fuck you know is doing this, man? So when you're ready to take advantage of this opportunity, it's the first link down below with the description. We will absolutely crush tomorrow with this game plan that I prepared for everyone.